Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are having a fantastic day so far. In today's video I'm going to be talking you through all of the new releases from December that I got my hands on, that I tested on my channel, and I'm going to be giving you my final thoughts on them now that I've had a little bit more time to play with them. So throughout the month I get my hands on all of the new releases, basically anything that like tickles my fancy I get my hands on, and I give you my first impressions, and then I come back at the end of the month, or in this case the start of the next month, and I tell you what I think of them after I've had more time to maybe use them in a different way, try things out just throughout the month to see what I actually think of them over a longer span of time, so that we can actually like deep dive into what's good, what's not, and all of that good stuff. So if you want to know my thoughts on all of the things that I tested out last month, then just keep on watching. If you are new here, I would love it if you would subscribe down below, and if you like these roundup videos at the end of the month or the start of the next month, then be sure to give this one a big thumbs up so that I know to keep on making them. But let's cast our minds back to the start of December 2023, which at this point feels like a whole lifetime ago. But the first video that went up on my channel, I was reviewing the new Studio London eyeshadow palette. So this is the Ate Jewel Colour Icon Playtime eyeshadow palette, and this is what the colours look like. I am a massive fan of this palette, but I haven't picked it up since I tested it out at the start of December. I do feel like this for me is definitely more of a springtime palette. It's definitely more of a Valentine's palette, you know, that sort of a vibe. Pink isn't necessarily the sort of colour story that I go for in like December and winter, but the quality is, I was about to say the quality is good, like the quality is fine. This only costs £5, so like just expect it to be a £5 eyeshadow palette and you won't be disappointed. It's not the best of the best, but it's absolutely not bad. The shimmers are really nice and like duochromy, but like I say, I haven't actually picked it up since I like swatched it and did like review video, so make of that what you will. It's not a bad palette at all. It just hasn't been the time of year for me to really reach for this one. However, it has absolutely been the time of year for me to reach for this one, which is the MUA Ultimate Obsession 24 Shade Nude Matte Eyeshadow Palette. What a long name! I have used this a ton, considering I like glitter so much and I like shimmer so much, and I really love MUA's shimmer formula. They're like duochrome formulas in their other palettes are absolutely fantastic, and I always thought that MUA's matte formula was fine, like it's not anything crazy. This is such a high quality eyeshadow palette. It's so well thought out. You've got all of the nudes that you would ever need. So you've got like your pinks, your more orangey, warmer tones, your more like chocolatey and almost purpley tones, and then your cool tones. So you have everything that you would possibly need to create a nude brown basic, but like basic, like you can make fantastic looks with this. It's so high quality. One of my favourite palettes from the year. When I was like going through and thinking about what products I wanted to include in my 2023 favourites, I was like, I can't allow myself to include this palette as much as I love it, because at that point I'd only had it for like 3 weeks. So I'm like, I need more time with it. I truly love this palette. I'm so glad I picked it up. Like I say, previously I didn't think a great deal of the MUA matte formulas. They're good, but they're not like out of this world good. This is almost like it's a different formula. It's so creamy, it's so high quality. I am the biggest fan, and I really like that this is all mattes as well, because it just covers all of your bases, and then you can go in with, you know, your little sparkly something from another palette, or I've really been enjoying like individual eyeshadows or just your highlight. Like I've really been enjoying using an individual accent shadow and just using this as like the base shadows. I've been reaching for this a ton, and I also really like that it's got the mirror in it so that I can just use this as my mirror eyeshadow palette and I don't need anything else. Then the next video that went up, I was testing out some new bits from Elf. Now Elf released loads of new releases this month, like there was a lot going on for Elf last month, and I am absolutely not mad at that, but the first release from December was a new brow pencil, a new liquid eyeliner and a new mascara. So let's start with the mascara. This is the Lash Extender mascara. This is what the packaging looks like. I know it's not relevant, but I love the colour of this. This is one of my favourite colours, so I'm a big fan of that. I will say I have tried to remove this mascara a few times now. I have worn this a lot. I have worn this pretty much every day since I tried it because I'm a massive fan. I really love the way that it looks. I'm not completely sold on this whole tubing mascara removal hype. It doesn't remove all that well, I don't feel like. I've tried removing it just with water, I've tried removing it with a cleansing balm, micellar water, all different ways, and I do just feel like it sort of just mushes up and I have to go in quite a few times to remove it. But I'm absolutely not mad at that because it lasts so well throughout the day. Like I say, it looks really great on the lashes. Very long, very lengthening, very fluttery, but also I like to do a few layers, so it is still that like chunky, clumpy, spidery, dramatic look that I enjoy. I am a really big fan of this. I don't know if I necessarily prefer it over the Lash and Roll. I think if I had both, I would probably just go for the Lash and Roll because that one sort of applies the same, gives me the same sort of look, but I feel like it removes easier, but it does also stay very well. So between the two of them, I would say the Lash and Roll is probably my preference, but I can see why some people would prefer this one because it is apparently this tubing formula that I still don't really understand, and it is meant to last longer, but I have absolutely no problem with the Lash and Roll, so either for me. They both give a very similar look. Next up, the liquid eyeliner. I do not like it. The applicator is way too firm. It's the tiny little like felt tip applicator, but it's just too firm. I don't feel like I can be very precise with it. I'm not very good at my liquid eyeliner. I prefer a brush tip. I just find it so much easier. I haven't used this one since I tested it. It didn't last all that long on me from that first review that I did. The only time that I have worn this didn't last very long, sort of left green bits all over. This is in the shade green in case you're wondering. Left green bits sort of all over my eyelids. Just wasn't a big fan of that. However, the standout from that video, the product that I cannot stop using, is the new Instant Lift waterproof brow pencil. So this is already one of my favourite products from last year. I absolutely love the original one. I'm like trying to find it. It's in my pot down here somewhere. The original Instant Lift brow pencil is fantastic. One of my all-time favourites. Repurchase over and over again. However, I'm always going to repurchase the waterproof one now because I prefer the texture of this one. The original one is very creamy. You get a lot of sort of pigment straight off the bat. However, this one has that creaminess, but it also sort of has a waxiness where I feel like it holds my brows in place. Granted, I don't need a lot of hold. I don't have very sort of unruly brows. They do generally do as they're told, but I really like the sort of hold that this gives, and then I can go over the top with my e.l.f. Wow Brow, of course. I have this in neutral brown. I really like this colour. It's not what I'm wearing today. Or is it? It might be. Either way, it doesn't matter. I really like this. This is definitely like the standout from that video. I am a big fan, and the e.l.f. brow products are so affordable. I really like the brow pencil. The other two, the mascara's good, not my favourite, and the eyeliner, don't waste your money on it, it's not worth it. Then the next video that went up was testing a full face of Natural Collection makeup. And if you haven't seen that video, I will just summarise. It was awful. There's only one product that I am keeping, or like, I'm gonna see if I can return it, because like, what is the point of me keeping it? But then also I've used it all, so I don't know. I need to look into it. But the only product out of that whole video that didn't look horrific is the blush. So I actually ended up getting 3, and this is the only one that I have continued to use. I think this is what I used in the video. The other ones I haven't opened. This is the powder blush in Rosy Glow, and it's fine. It's not the best blush that I've ever tried. It just sort of seemed that way because the rest of the products in that video were awful, like the worst products I've ever tried. So bad. There's a reason it's so affordable, there's a reason nobody talks about it. Natural Collection is awful. Like, yes, it's very affordable, but even then, like, I wouldn't give that as like play makeup to a small child. Like, it's so bad. It smells awful, it's just not a good brand. I don't know how they're still going like that bad. So the next video that went up, I was testing out all of the new Profusion eyeshadow palettes. They came out with 6 new palettes, little 5-pan ones, and all of them apart from one, and I can't remember which one it was one of the blue ones, I'll put the name on screen. All of them apart from one are 10 out of 10, absolutely fantastic, have continued to use. The one that I have continued to use the most, however, my most used out of those 6 new palettes is this one, Canyon Oasis. So this is like, obviously this is the packaging, but that's like in keeping with the shades that you get inside. So obviously I have got, or not obviously, I've got blue eyes. I love these warmer orangey mustardy tones on my eyes. Really brings out the colour, really makes them pop. The shimmer in the centre is absolutely beautiful in all of the palettes apart from that one that I just named. Really great quality. I do feel like Profusion have 2 formulas in their eyeshadow palettes. These little 5-pan ones and the larger palettes are like chalk and cheese. They are so different. I feel like the 5-pan ones are absolutely fantastic, like top tier, such good quality eyeshadows, especially considering this is only £3.99, you get 5 shades. You can't go wrong if there's like a colour story that you like the look of. But the larger palettes are completely different. So if you have tried the larger palettes and you're like, this just, I don't enjoy it, try these little ones because they really truly are like a different formula. These are so good, and I'm thrilled that I got all of them. Then next up there was more new releases from e.l.f. They came out with some new brushes which I haven't got my hands on yet, but I'm definitely keeping my eye on. I wanted to mention the foundation again. Now the colour was slightly off. I do need to look at getting a better colour. This is the Camo Hydrating CC Cream. So I have this in Fair 100. It's just a little bit light for me. It doesn't quite work on my skin, even at the minute, as like pale as I am. It doesn't quite work, so I do need to look at getting a slightly better shade. I prefer this with a very hydrating primer on. When I tested this I didn't use a primer, and I also applied it with a brush. I have continued to use it and I will use this up, but I prefer it with a very hydrating primer. Even though it's a hydrating foundation, I have very dry skin, so I do need a hydrating primer on underneath, and then I like to blend it out with a sponge rather than a brush. I just take one pump, that is more than enough for my whole face, and I really blend it out because it is a lot of coverage, but that is how I have been using it, and I much prefer it blended out with a sponge rather than a brush. When I first tested it, it was just too much coverage, it looked too heavy. I think I did like 2 or 3 pumps, like it was just too much, and obviously the colour was slightly wrong. So shearing it out with the sponge rather than a brush definitely gives a better look on my skin. And then I picked up 3 of the new liquid blushes, and I just wanted to mention this one, which is Peach Perfect. I have tried to use this, and obviously like you can see how pale I am. I have tried to use this and it's just too pale for my skin tone. If you are a true porcelain and you don't like a lot of blush, you don't like a lot of like pink on your cheeks, you want something that's more natural, just a very slight flush of colour, you might enjoy this one. I like a lot of blush. I am a blushaholic. I like a lot of like pink blush on my cheeks, so this isn't necessarily the colour for me. I don't really think I will use this all that much unless I'm using it with another blush over the top of it to maybe like mix in with something a little bit brighter. It's just very fair, which is obviously great that there's options for people who are very fair, but like I am very fair and it just doesn't really show up all that much on my skin. The other 2 shades that I've got, which are Pinky Promise, this beautiful bright pink, and Dusty Rose, which as the name would suggest is more of a dusty rosy shade. I really like both of these. They are both really nice and glowy. They do add a really nice sort of soft radiance to the skin. They're very pigmented. You need a very small amount. I actually like to take these on the back of my hand and then pick up a tiny little bit of it with my brush rather than dotting it on. I've seen so many like Instagram reels and stuff of people like dotting a lot of product on and then trying to blend it out with the brush and just covering their whole face in blush. It is very pigmented, so you don't need very much. You just need a really small amount and blend it right out. Even with like the lighter shades, you only need a very small amount. Both of these are beautiful and I really enjoy both of these shades. I'm definitely interested in some of the other ones, but I'm holding off for now because I've got a lot of liquid blush. I really enjoy liquid blush, so these would definitely up my street, but I did sort of underestimate how much I would like these. They're really beautiful. I think e.l.f. have done really well with those ones. So that is everything that I tried out in December. I am going to be sort of starting to re-hoard all of my empties, to do another 12 months worth of empties again because I feel like that went down quite well. And other than that, that is all that happened last December. Or last December? December just gone, you know what I mean. If you got to the very end of this video, then thank you ever so much for watching. It really does mean the world to me when you stick around to the end of the videos, me rambling on. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. It really does help me out so much when you click that like button. It helps me a ton. It also helps me a ton if you can leave a lovely little comment down below. It just helps boost my video in the algorithm so that more people can come and join the craziness. But until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye!